Hello and welcome to my channel Happy Hours. In the last video I discussed about the human and social capital, green GDP, gross national happiness and the carbon tax. Today I am going to discuss about the carbon credit, greenwashing and circular and linear economy. So let us proceed with the first topic for today, which is goals of net zero carbon set by the world and by India. The world has said that they are going to emit zero carbon by the year 2015. It means they are going to, if their emission is and the consumption both are going to be the same. India has set the goal by for 2070, whereas Indian Railway has set the same for 2030. Now let us proceed to the second topic, which is carbon credit, a financial unit which represents efforts for absorbing 1 ton of CO2 from the atmosphere. It can be earned by making investment in the green projects like wind energy, solar energy, etc. It can be done in the form of tree plantation also. Suppose a company decided that it is going to distribute the gas stoves to the poor people. So instead of wood, the stove is going to be used, which is now going to reduce the emission of CO2. By this, the company will be credited with some carbon credit according to the amount of CO2 emission is being reduced by it. Apart from this, a company can do one more thing, that it is going to emit less CO2 which in compared to the permitted level. Now, for this, we should understand the one more concept, which is assigned amount of unit for CO2 by the government to the company. It is assigned to any company how much CO2 they can emit. So they should emit less than this limit. By that, they can earn carbon credit also. It can be done in one more way, that is, they can change their technology of production. If for cleaner technology, they are more expensive and challenging also. Like if suppose you have to use the CNG kit, then instead of petrol in your vehicle, then you need to store or implement a CNG kit in your vehicles, and this is going to reduce the pollution. If someone have to the surplus of carbon credit, then they can sell this to the other person who is in a need of also. So presently there are 75 national highways which are under the plan to be given to the companies on lease for maintenance, and by this the company government is monetizing the physical assets. Similarly, there is a monetizing of carbon assets too. Means you can trade the carbon credit. So there is the next topic, which is known as the greenwashing, or we can say green sheen. This is the practice done by the companies to say that the company are environment friendly, and they are trying to project to the in the market that they are nature friendly, but in reality this is not the case. It is said by the economic survey. Now next topic is the circular economy, an economy which emphasizes on better utilization of resources. It focuses on recycling, repair, refurbishment and sharing, etc. Now the very first and subtopic is recycling. Recycling means it can be many things. You can use it by recycling it, like the clothes and the stationery product, especially the papers. Iron and steel also can be recycled. Next, we are having the repair. And in repair, like suppose you are using some kind of electronic goods, and there is some problem with it, then if it can be repaired, we can repair it instead of buying it in a new one. So that is the way you can reduce the use of consumption of this kind of materials. Next is refurbishment. It is like renovate and redecorate. It is done, especially you can see in the case of Apple. If suppose there is some problem with their Apple mobile, and you can ask the company is going to refurbish it, or it can be reused. It will be looking like the new model also. Now next is the sharing. Sharing is, we all know that sharing of resources can be done. Especially you can understand in this form that suppose if a person, two person living in the society and they are going to the same office, they can, instead of using the different vehicles, they can share the vehicle. One day one person is using his vehicle and the other day some other person. By this also the pollution is going to reduce, or carbon emission is also going to reduce. Opposite to the circular economy, there is another economy. This is known as the linear economy. So, in this, what has happened? You are taking, making, and disposing, or in the simple words, we can say it is a system in which people buy a product, use it, and then throw it away. So, the linear fashion, in this linear economy, what is going to happen? All the resources are going to be wasted very fastly, and a day will come, the resources will come to an end. Next, we should understand what is growth and what is development. So, growth is the quantitative measurement, the a change in our output or income. We can understand in this other way also, like the economic growth primarily focus on the quantitative change such as increase in production, consumption and income level, whereas the development is comprehensive concept to also include such items as like health, knowledge, etc. So, in the economic term, we can say the economic development consider both the quantitative and qualitative aspects, including factors like education, healthcare, infrastructure, and environmental sustainability. We can say that income gives us a living standard, but they are not as same as the quality of life. We can understand in this way also the living standard may contribute in quality of life, but they cannot be the same. Living standard is a physical phenomenon and it can be observed from the outside. If suppose somebody is earning high, they are going to have more number of vehicles, they can have the luxurious bungalow, and it can be visible from outside also. But if suppose that person is sick, some kind of illness is there, let us assume is as a diabetes, and if suppose that person has to consume the sweet and he cannot consume, then it is the inner happiness is not there, so that is the development is missing. So we can say that you can income can give you luxury, income can give you a kind of happiness, but not exactly the full happiness, because income can buy the goods but it cannot buy the complete happiness, it cannot give you good health. So in the day, growth and the development, they are both at different dimensions of the economics. Now let us understand the next topic, that is the human development index. It was first introduced or issued in the year 1990, and it was prepared by the United Nations Development Program. Significant changes were introduced in the year 2010, and sources were the Human Development Report. The latest Human Development Report was 2023-24. For this, dimensions and indicators were set. The dimension is the long and healthy life, and the life expectancy at birth. But there was a question that the life in expectancy increases at the age of 60 years, then the old, what is the effect of that in the economics? Like the people who are getting old and after the 60 year of age also they are living more, what is going to happen? The see in India or in any other country, the working age is over by the age of 60, and after that also they have to live. So what they are going to do, they are going to start saving extra and extra, and people also have to expend extra on the health also. The important point for the government is to improve the health side, and the other things for the people, the load will be there, they have to save extra. So by this, the both things are going to be affected, and first is the saving, by the young age they have to start saving, and the other is the government has to work for the health sectors. Now the second topic is knowledge. The expected years of schooling and the mean years of schooling, there are two topics. Expected years of schooling means how many years a small child is going to the under the age of 1 to 5 to the school, and the mean year we cannot make it or make any changes, but you can ask the people how long they have going to spend it to the school. Now the third topic is living standard. It is going to be measured like real per capita GNI in American dollar, and here it is based on the PPP. PPP is purchasing power parity. Now we can understand this with the help of an example. Like there was an example survey done in which the Maharaja burger, which is in India price, was 207 rupees in the year January 2023, 207 rupees, and in US it was $5.36. Now when you are going to compare them, means you are going to divide 207 rupees by 5.36 dollar, is going to come rupees 38.62, and which is now going to be equivalent to $1. It means the same purchasing power of both. So the $1 of purchasing power parity is equal to the rupees 38.62 in terms of Big Mac burger. It means we can conclude that it means $1 equals to rupees 38 for purchasing power, means $100 worth in USA is same as rupees 3800 in India, not actual conversion of rupees 8200. And since $1 is equal to 82 Indian rupees according to the forex exchange. By this I am concluding my video. Thank you.